I'm LeeAnn Bell with eXp Realty, and today I wanted to take some time to introduce you to a great resource that I have in my back pocket for my clients who want to buy some rentals and they want to actually try to do property management all by themselves. I have helped people in the past. It gets really sticky, and we got some new laws and rules that have been introduced even in 2025. Every month, my goodness. So I really would love to introduce everyone that I know to a great guy named John Evarts, and he is the owner of
California Leasing and Management. Thank you, LeeAnn. That was a heck of an introduction.
Well, you make my life so much easier, and I know that you make every landlord's life so much easier. Why don't you give us a little bit of detail on what are some new rules, some new laws, anything you'd love to tell us on why would we want to use you?
Yeah, you got it. So, really, it's for me, it's should you hire a property manager or not? Well, we actually had a funny conversation before we started filming, and I told you I don't even like to manage my own properties because I'm the worst manager of my own properties, right? And that was for a different reason. We'll talk about it a little bit, but man, new laws. Well, I've never seen an onslaught of new legislation like we saw in 2020. And it went from 2020 until about 2023. Some of them didn't expire until 2024. So we had temporary new laws, we had new laws that came into place and they're still in effect today, and then we had kind of spin-offs of those laws. So you'd have a new law and then they would build on it, and it's so confusing and it's so convoluted that just to stay on top of what the new laws are is almost a full-time job in itself when it comes to rental properties in LA County. Right. And then within LA County you have different cities, and those cities will have, even in Santa Clarita, if somebody calls and they're like, hey, I have this property, it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, I want to rent it out, are you inside the city limits? Because the rules are different if you're inside the city limits versus outside. One of the big ones, and just so you know, I'm not here to talk about whether legislation is good or bad. Right. That's a totally different conversation. It is there. And so if you want to own rental property in LA County, you have to deal with that legislation one way or another. You can ignore it. That is one way to deal with it. That's not necessarily the best way, but it is one of the ways. But if you want to work with the legislation, I actually become kind of a fan of over-legislation and property management because it chases some of the people out of LA who own rental property and creates opportunities for more people who are willing to just figure it out and work with the legislation. And it's, as a real estate agent, Southern California real estate is extremely valuable. And I don't see that changing. Do you?
No, I can't see it changing at all.
Yeah, actually the demand is, I've been doing this 20 years, I've never seen demand as high as it is today for rentals or for sales. Yes. And so we can go into specific legislation if you want, or we can, I came up with a little 3-point list of why I think hiring a property manager is a good idea in LA County.
Let's touch on it. I really want to interject. Boy, oh boy, the real estate agents, we don't know property management rules usually unless I've taken a course on it and I'm drilling down and I'm learning all of the new updates that are going on. Yeah. A landlord, a guy who's buying 1, 2, 3, 4, small-time landlord, couple homes, I want to make some passive income, LeeAnn, let's buy a couple of condos or homes. Yeah. They're not always going to know all of the new legislation, all the rules, everything that they need to do or be aware of as a landlord. Why should we, landlords and agents, take this risk on ourselves when we've got someone wonderful like John, and it's not a terrible fee either. It's a great price. So why don't you tell us maybe 1 or 2 of the legislations that have come up that are really important?
So some of the things to be aware of in LA County, one is if you have a property that is going to be Section 8 approved and you're hoping to collect government money for the rent, great way to make money. Totally different set of rules. So a new piece of legislation that just went into effect is if you're going to rent to someone who's getting a HUD voucher under the Section 8 program, you cannot use their credit score as a determining factor to rent to them. That's a big handicap. So what you have to do is sit down and look at your screening criteria, remove credit score as a determining factor. Now, currently you're still allowed to look at it, but you're not legally allowed to use it as a determining factor. So if somebody comes in, they have a 510 credit score, you can't call them and say, well, you have a 510 credit score, so I'm not going to rent to you.
Yes.
So what do you do?
Yes.
You have to look at your screening criteria and decide, I'm going to move around within the laws, make it a legal list, but it will still be effective to screen out people that are going to be high risk to me. So that's one example.
Did I know that as an agent?
I don't know.
I did not know that. So I wouldn't have
Yeah.
benefited anyone of a landlord who wanted or who was accepting or got applicants from a HUD.
Yeah.
With HUD vouchers.
Yep.
Okay,
and it's a good way to make money. I'm not going to lie. I mean, Section 8 money is good money.
You got the income coming in for sure every single month.
At least a portion of it.
A
Sometimes
portion,
all
yes.
of it.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Number two.
Another one would be in LA County, actually in the state of California, if you own a rental property and there's more than one dwelling on the APN, which is the assessor's parcel number. So if you have 2 or more units on that, you fall under the Statewide Rent Control Act. It's called the Tenant Protection Act, the TPA. You can Google that and you'll get all the rules on it. So when you're looking at properties and you're like, I'm going to buy a single family home versus a duplex, triplex, fourplex, a house with an ADU,
Yes.
those are going to fall. Those are automatically going to be under the jurisdictions of the TPA, whereas a single-family home may or may not, depending on where it's located. So, all of this comes down to risk tolerance. Really, for real estate investors, it's about risk tolerance. If you have a high risk tolerance, you can deal with the different risks that come with owning a multi-unit, a multi-family building on say in Santa Monica, which has one of the strictest rent control laws in California. Maybe some of the Bay Area is a little bit stricter, or if you don't want risk tolerance, you want to really be able to screen applicants as strict as you can, then a single family home in the city of Santa Clarita gives you the most options available on tenant screening.
Oh, does it?
It's pretty complicated.
Yes, yes.
If you do it all day and you have a good team of professionals surrounding you that you can go to for advice, like we have 2 attorney groups we work with on a regular basis if we have questions. So, the tools are there. And again, I mean, I know a bunch of real estate investors who are wildly successful
Yes.
in Los Angeles County. You don't have to sell your LA County property and go buy in Missouri where it's never going to appreciate.
Yeah.
Just because it's easier to rent it out.
Right.
So,
Another option that I love about California leasing is the packages that you offer.
yeah,
So a landlord can choose a package that they are most comfortable with. And something that I've said to clients of mine who have bought properties to rent out, I've said, why would you, Mr. Landlord, want to take on the responsibility of collecting the rent? Because when a tenant comes to you with the tears in their eyes and they can't make rent this month, do you want to be the person to either let them stay? How long will you let them stay? Or do you want to be the person to try to evict someone? Would you rather have a third party do this eviction process for you? And that's one of the levels of the packages that you offer. Is that correct?
It's called the Elite Management Program. And it offers, if we screen and place a resident and they stop paying their rent, we will evict them, we'll pay the attorney's fees, we'll pay up to 3 months lost rent, and then you still have the security deposit, and then we also pay the locksmith on the move out and up to $1,500 in damages. So we tried to design it so that if you're the one who loses the lottery and gets the tenant who loses their job and stops paying and doesn't move out, we still have a really good chance. Actually, it's a 100% chance right now because we haven't had one go outside of this, where we can get them out, get it cleaned up, get it re-rented, and there's no monetary loss to the client.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a wonderful offer.
It's
Really.
it's a pretty cool program.
It really is.
I wish the properties I owned out of state where I have property managers would offer a similar program. I'd buy it in a heartbeat.
Yes.
I wouldn't have to think about it.
Yes, seriously, right?
Yeah.
Buy a rental, Get someone to put the tenant in and take it from there. The other thing is, who wants to be woken up in the middle of the night saying, my pipes are broken, come and get this repaired right now?
Totally.
We can call John. Why do we want to do this ourselves?
Yeah, we have a 24-hour emergency hotline it's answered. And actually, I would rather be woken up in the middle of the night for an emergency repair than I would be like at my son's high school graduation or my daughter's wedding. Or, I mean, there are some areas where you really don't want to have to take that phone call, and I got to tell you, I don't 100% believe in Murphy's Law, but it sure seems like it's a law.
Right.
That if you could get that call, that's when it's going to come.
Yikes. Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yes. Anything else you want to tell us about your great leasing company?
So that's a great question, and I think if I had to boil it down to one thing, it would really be our business philosophy, just from a pure business standpoint. The way we designed our family of products and services is to align most closely with our clients' goals. So most clients' goals are very simple. We want to net the most amount of money we can year after year with the least amount of headaches.
Yes.
And so that's what a passive investor is really looking for,
Yes.
right? So you want to be a passive investor in LA County real estate or Ventura County real estate. You want your property manager to align their goals perfectly with your goals so that even in the worst situations, everybody knows you're working toward the same goal. And that's how we kind of built our family of products and services.
And I heard you mention, are you servicing LA County as well as Ventura County?
Part of Ventura County.
Part of Ventura
Almost
County.
all of LA County, and then parts of Ventura County.
Terrific. Good
Yeah.
to know. Good to
Yeah.
know. I didn't know that either. I'm so glad to get to know a little bit more. You know,
Awesome.
John Evarts has a wonderful reputation in this community. How long have you been living in Santa Clarita?
22 years.
22 years. He's built up a wonderful reputation of being ethical, of being honest, of being very personable.
Thank you.
I really like you, too.
Well,
I enjoy doing business with you.
And I enjoy doing business with people I like.
Yes.
That's like a key piece of the business is having clients that align with our values, having business associates like real estate agents that align with our values. When you can build a business where all the values align, it doesn't feel like you're constantly rubbing and there's a constant friction between you and your clients and between you and business associates. So I enjoy coming to work. I enjoy the people I work with. I enjoy the real estate agents I get to spend time with, and it makes it fun.
It does. You know, please, if you don't want to sell a property, if you'd like to hold on to it and rent it out, I really highly recommend my great friend, John Evarts. What a great addition he will be to you and your business of being a landlord. And John, I can't thank you enough
Thanks,
for spending
Leann.
some time with me today.
Oh, I love doing
I thank
this.
you for what you do for my clients as well. And I just wish you all the very best. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Leann.